What's up everybody, Kinetic here, and welcome back to Dragon Age Inquisition. Remember when you guys were voting on what builds were going to be coming up next, and there was a surprise option? Well, surprise! I've got a support build video here for you, using none other than everybody's favorite female character, Vivienne. If you are not planning to play as a support character yourself, then this build is going to be very good for Vivienne. You'll have to put up with the shit that she talks for a while, but I notice eventually she doesn't talk quite as snobby after a while. She runs out of stupid things to say out of her stupid mouth, and yeah, you'll get more performance and less chitter chatter. I did make a mention of this build a little bit when I was talking about my dual dagger Tempest and how I like to have Vivienne with the support build that I've been using, and she's done very well at protecting other melee fighters, as acting as a good off tank for Blackwall. Maybe he's busy somewhere else. Vivienne can fill in that off tank role very, very well, and of course she's just very good because of the skills that I have prioritized and selected at casting barrier, even as AI, very, very often. Alright, so let's start off by taking a look at the spirit tree. Pretty much everything we have going for here is exactly like I was talking about in my original Knight Enchanter video. This can, of course, be applied to any mage, and so you might think, well, what's the point in giving it to Vivienne and making her a specialized support character? It's mainly because of her ability to just be very strong, and of course her focus ability, Resurgence, which acts as basically another revive ability. So by having two revive abilities, she has incredibly powerful barriers, she's hard to kill, and she's on the front line because of her spirit blade from the Knight Enchanter tree. This makes her, I think, the most ideal way to deliver a mage as a support role. So starting from the top, we have Barrier. You guys know what this does. It basically acts as a temporary buff over a ally's health that will deteriorate slowly over time. With the upgrade Elegant Defense, each time a barrier you have cast expires, the ability's cooldown time is reduced by 4 seconds. So it's a very nice upgrade, definitely worth taking for anyone that's going to be casting Barrier. Over to the right, we have Guardian Spirit. This is a protective barrier that automatically pops up once they get into critical health levels. It's a lifesaver, definitely take this. To the left, we have Peaceful Aura. This reduces the threat generation by 50%. Down below there, we have Dispel. Remove hostile magic and status effects from allies while stripping beneficial effects from enemies. This is a very powerful tool to use against various demons during rifts. When you see they have a blue bar instead of a normal colored health bar, that means that they are buffed with some kind of barrier. Use Dispel and destroy it. By getting the upgrade Transmute Magic, dispelling magical and status effects increases your own spell's damage and barrier generation for a brief duration. A very nice upgrade, gives us an additional 50% barrier and increases our damage by 25% for 10 seconds. Over in the corner, Rejuvenating Barrier. When you or your allies have an active barrier, the beneficial energy invigorates them and helps them recover mana or stamina more quickly. So mana regeneration, 35%. And lastly, to the right, we have Revival. You summon spirits to heal fallen allies in the area, getting them back on their feet and fighting again. This has an area of effect of 2 meters, which means that you can actually target more than one ally should they fall kind of next to each other. I really like that about this ability. The upgrade for this is very good. Life Ward. Spirits now protect your allies for a short time, reducing incoming damage and reviving them if they fall unconscious. So this gives them an additional 25% damage resistance for 15 seconds after being revived. Alright, let's take a quick look at a couple of other trees that I invested a little bit into. In the Infernal line, we go and we do take Immolate, and it has a nice upgrade. You guys are pretty familiar with this by now, right? It does 300% weapon damage, 75% weapon damage over time for 8 seconds, and is an area of effect blast. It's a very nice skill that is very cheap as well. It only costs, well, the calculations here are a little bit weird, but according to this, it's 32. I believe that by default it's actually 35, so it's a very cheap spell to cast and does very good damage, especially when you get the upgrade Wildfire. you get an additional 100% weapon damage and another 75% weapon damage per second, which also reduces the cooldown by 4 seconds, which means that you can cast Immolate very, very often. Our real reason for going into the Infernal line is to pick up these passives Flashpoint. After you land a critical hit, your next spell cast doesn't trigger a cooldown period. This will allow you to, for example, cast back-to-back offensive abilities or defensive abilities. You can cast multiple barriers this way. You can cast multiple Immolates this way. Pay attention to those crit numbers, because when you do, you'll probably see this icon, and that means your next cast has no cooldown. And the last point that we take here, Clean Burn. Your spells burn away ambient magic that would otherwise slow down your casting. Every spell you cast shortens your active cooldown times by 1 second. Now, the amazing thing about this passive is that it actually works with Spirit Blade. I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but it's really awesome that you can use Spirit Blade, which is basically a melee attack. And every time you do that, it counts as a spell cast, and therefore goes good with Clean Burn and reduces your cooldowns. Let's take a quick look at the Winterline. I also take Fade Step. This is a really nice ability that can help you get out of trouble in a very short amount of time. It doesn't protect you completely from damage. You can still get hit while you are performing Fade Step, but it's a great way to zip around the battlefield either in a straight line or even make U-turns using this ability. It's great, and it only has a cooldown time. It doesn't actually cost you any magic, which is definitely a plus in my book. Now, even though we have Spirit Blade, which does cause us to move around a lot, as you can see, I do still take Winter Stillness, which increases our mana generation rate by 50% while standing still. So, despite the fact that I am using Spirit Blade, there are those times where I may just be standing still, and I might be casting barriers, for example. I might be casting an Immolate or something like that, and this is going to come in handy. What can I say? I'm a big fan of Winter Stillness. Alright, so let's take a look now at the Knight Enchanter line. We have Spirit Blade, we've been talking about this, deals 300% weapon damage and also does additional damage versus barrier and guard. To the left side of that, we have Combat Clarity. The chaos of combat frightens some, but for you, it's a comfortable rhythm. Your mana regenerates faster when you're near hostile enemies. And of course, since we're using Spirit Blade and we're hanging around as backup for Black Wall or whoever our tank is, Combat Clarity definitely gives us a nice mana regeneration bonus by 50%. Down below there, we have Fade Shield. Any successful attack strengthens your barrier. The more damage you do, the more powerful your barrier grows. In the middle, we have Resurgence. This is a really powerful revival ability that is powered by Focus. You call on benign spirits to restore you and your allies for continuing the fight. All party members are healed to full health, including those who have fallen unconscious, and a glyph around you provides ongoing healing to the party for the spell's duration. At tier 3, the glyph heals by 25% per second. Up to the right, we have Fade Cloak. This is one of my personal favorite abilities here for the Knight Enchanter. You surround yourself with the magic of the Veil itself. You are briefly invulnerable and can pass through enemies unharmed. So you can pass through enemies and they can pass through you. If you time this correctly for that 2-second duration, this means that any enemy that tries to swing a sword at you, a dragon maybe tries to swipe you with its tail or something like that, is going to go right through you and not cause any damage. Plus, if you pick up this nifty upgrade, Decloaking Blast, you rematerialize inside an enemy. They're blasted back with massive force, 1,000 weapon damage. Back towards the bottom, we have Veiled Riposte. Whenever you have a barrier active, enemies who attack you will take damage in return. 20% damage returned is nice. Getting close to the end now, Night Protector. Barriers you create take longer to naturally decay. A barrier decay reduction by 35%. Very nice. And I didn't take this ability with my original Knight Enchanter, but I wanted to try it, test it out, and see if it could act in a supportive way that it seems like it describes. Disruption Field. You fuel an area with magical energy that slows and weakens your enemies. Enemies larger than the field are immune. So, to my surprise, this is an instant cast bubble that appears around your Knight Enchanter, and any enemies that are caught within that bubble have their speed reduced by 50%. Now, of course, since it says enemies larger than the field are immune, you can't use this on dragons, but if they kind of fit within it, then it seems to affect them in a very good way. This can definitely be timed in some fun ways to trap enemies that would normally be very elusive. One other thing that I definitely want to make a mention of, which isn't necessarily specific to a support build, but definitely is a strong support item, are the healing mist grenades. If you can find this recipe, I don't know if it can be bought. If it can, please, somebody let us know. But if it's just an RNG thing, then I wish you luck. This is a great item to have. It will save your healing potions. It will save your regeneration potions. It creates an AoE effect when you throw this on the ground that heals all allies in that area instantly, according to these numbers, by 377 health. That's because I've already got the upgrades by increasing healing by 38, by 50, and the very awesome upgrade at the bottom, the last one, healing mist, can restore unconscious party members as well as healing them. So having this equipped, for example, on Vivienne, that gives her 3 different ways then to pick up other party members. And I highly recommend, of course, if you have this recipe, definitely equip it on, for example, maybe another melee character. You might have something else that you want to equip for your tank, maybe like an armor tonic or something like that. But give this to one of your other melee characters, or maybe even just another ranged character or something like that. And when you see an opportunity where your allies can benefit from it, then it's fantastic to have. Like all of my builds, these can be applied to either your main character or your AI companion. I found that this build works very well as an AI setup for Vivienne. Like I've said before, she casts barrier all the time. She almost always instantly revives somebody if they do get knocked down. And if you ever feel the itch to play as a support, then this is quite fun, I think. Let's take a look at a couple of examples of how I play my support Knight Enchanter.
mean, yes. I'm alive. Really. Alive.
Thanks for watching this video on my Knight Enchanter support build here in Dragon Age Inquisition. I hope that you guys take this build, apply it to your Vivienne, and I would love for you to come back and give me some feedback on how this performed for you. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Click the like button to support these Dragon Age Inquisition videos, and stay subscribed. More is coming up soon. Thanks again for watching. My name is Kinetic, and I'll see you next time.